So I usually don't talk about pop culture topics and things like that, but I thought this situation particularly with the Breakfast Club's whole drama with Loren Larosa, who replaced Jess Hilarious on maternity leave. If you're not familiar with the names, I'll give like a brief recap. I think this is a good conversation about some of the harsh realities that we have as women when we leave the workforce to go on maternity leave and then we come back and things have changed.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma.
Kind of thinking out loud about this whole topic, and I'll give a brief recap about like this whole story, whoever's not familiar, and then we'll like go into the discussion. Jess Hilarious is a comedian. She's popular on social media, and I don't remember the exact timeline, but just say a year ago, she took the place of the third host of the Breakfast Club, which is a very popular radio show. Not too long after she got the job, I'm talking like months, she announced her pregnancy, and eventually she went on maternity leave where she had a beautiful baby girl. And while she was gone, her replacement, who she chose, Loren Larosa, took her place, kind of thrived in that role. And to Jess's surprise, when Jess Hilarious came back from maternity leave, she realized that Loren LaRosa kind of got a permanent role on the show, and it had her feeling some type of way. And she went on IG Live and was just sharing her like, hurt and resentment and just her disappointment from her workplace not being clear on like what was going on when she came back from maternity leave. Why is my replacement here if I'm back? Why is she getting more airtime than me? And yeah, she just expressed her frustration. Now, one thing that I will say, okay, first of all, I think Jess Hilarious is funny. I like her Jess with the mess clips on Instagram. And I think she's like, she offers like, good comic relief on the Breakfast Club. But when it comes to reporting like the news and current events and things like that, I think that's like her weak side. And Loren LaRosa, who's an experienced journalist and has more media experience, that's where she thrives. So I believe that's why like some people are in the comment sections when you see they're like, they kind of put these women against each other. And I just think that everybody is talented in their respective lane. Loren LaRosa is a journalist, so of course she's going to be better at reporting current events and things like that. And Jess Hilarious is a comedian, so of course she's going to be better at like, comedy and being funny. So it's not a fair comparison between the two women. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is like, I feel like that's one of the biggest fears that a woman can have when she's going on maternity leave. It's like, what if I'm replaced by someone who's better than me? And I don't even think Jess Hilarious saw this coming. I feel like she's like a confident woman. She knows her value and her worth. So I don't think she saw it coming until she got back. But yeah, I think that sucks when your replacement turns out to be better than you at the job. And then not only that, when you come back and like people aren't really clear with you and they're not straightforward about what's going on, that would have anyone, kind of upset and in their feelings. Just like a small anecdote, I remember when I was much younger in my 20s. So a friend of mine asked me to replace her on maternity leave. And then I was there. They really liked me. They weren't going to fire her. She came back. They absolutely loved her. So it wasn't the same situation. Her job wasn't at risk or anything, but they did offer me to stay. And the only reason I took her temporary, job is because I was looking for something temporary because I was going to fly to somewhere. Anyways, they asked me to stay. And I did extend like my employment there for like another 2 months until I had to leave. So anyways, it's a common thing for you to get a replacement when you leave for maternity leave. What you're probably not expecting is for your replacement to excel to the point where they like kind of diminish your role. I don't think any woman going into maternity leave, especially when you're a first-time mom, I don't think Jess Hilarious isn't. She has a child, but I think she had her first, much younger. So this is kind of like first time experience in this. But that is something unique that women have to face that men don't necessarily have to face, is like, that you have a baby, you have to be away for a while to, recover. Every country has their, here in the States, there's like no maternity leave, or it depends on your company. In my country, we have 15 weeks of paid maternity leave, but I know some countries where they have like a year of paid maternity leave and even more. And I can't imagine after like a year or more not being in the office and coming back, how strange that must feel. Like you probably feel out of place because in a year everything can change. So I can see that making a woman feel a bit insecure and like trying to find her place all over again. That's probably like with anyone who takes extended leave, but I feel like after you become a mother, it's even more so because your like psyche is split in half. It's like you part of you is like with your work, and then the other part of you is with your child, because it doesn't matter, like even if you're working, if you get a phone call and something's going on with your kid, then you're gonna like drop what you're doing and either you go physically and take care of it or you try to arrange something. Like I don't know, at least unless you're a sociopath, I can't see you like disconnecting completely like 100% from your children. That's what I'm trying to say. And you don't always realize that. Like I don't think, I'm going to speak for myself. Me for sure, I didn't imagine like how being a mother would affect me. I thought like, yeah, like this is important to me, and as soon as I have my baby, I'm going to be back, and like, you know, this, how about I never went back? But okay. I speak to moms, like mom friends all the time, and I talk to other moms on this podcast, and a lot of us, we talk about how you have an identity shift when you go through motherhood, which is actually like biological. I'm going to do another separate episode on that topic, how matrescence actually changes your brain. Like you have physiological brain changes that happen during pregnancy and afterwards. So basically your employer should know that the employee that left is not going to be the exact same employee that comes back from maternity leave. For better, for worse. When I say for worse, that's as far as the employer. Maybe you're not going to be able to put in like overtime or be like a overachiever, over deliver like you did before. But I think for better, because working moms are super productive and efficient, and we know how to get things done, and we're empathetic. I'm generalizing here, but you know, for the most part, I think there are a lot of advantages in hiring moms. Before I became a mom, I didn't know how much I can get done in an hour. So yeah. And I think millennial moms, more so than our parents who are like the younger boomers in Gen X, I think we're like not trying to be workaholics like they were. Because as their children who experience their absence at times, I feel like we want to spend more time with our children and be more present. And I think that is what caused the rise of like the millennial mompreneur, mommy business owners, or even moms who have traditional jobs but seek like more remote work or hybrid work, or even high paying part-time jobs that allow them to have that like flexibility to be present for their like children's rehearsal or practice, or you know, just to have more free time to spend with their families. Some people criticize it as like a lack of work ethic, which, okay, maybe it's valid for some millennials, but I know a lot more millennials with like great work ethic. We're just not trying to live to work like some of the baby boomer generation. And it's not to say that you can't be a driven career woman and have a family. Like there are plenty of examples of women who've done it and who do it. I just think you have to like come back and realistically identify what you're able to give at a job and be honest with your employer. I actually had a really good episode with Anna Darlington. I'll make sure I link it in the show notes. She's a HR expert and she's a business coach, and she actually helps a lot of women who do that shift from maternity leave back to the workforce, or women who realize that they kind of want to do a career shift. So she helps with that transition. So yeah, shout out to Anna Darlington. So she talks about that, like just really being transparent with your employer so they don't have the exact same expectations that they did before you became a mother. And unfortunately, not all companies are like mom friendly. So if you see that your employer is not really understanding, then that's when you kind of start to snoop around for another company that has a more family-friendly company culture. And that's something as women that we have to experience. Fathers, of course, their lives change when they have children as well, but it's usually not to the extent that it does to the mothers. So, but shout out to millennial dads, because I don't remember the exact statistic, but I remember like reading how millennial fathers spend significantly more time with their children and, you know, participate in chores and things like that than fathers in previous generations. So let me know in the comments, like, if you experienced this, how was it when you came back from maternity leave in your office? How did you change? And let me know what you think about the whole Breakfast Club dilemma. I personally think that both of these women are talented in their own right, and they can actually work together and make the show better. And I hate that they put them against each other, but that's also something that's like always happening, pinning like women against each other. So I hope they don't like listen to all the noise on the internet and make it work. And that's all for this episode. Bye.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the